Am I the asshole? For potentially being the reason my father and his wife can't adopt or foster? So my father and his moved to a house within a 10-minute drive of his parents. Initially I was happy about this, because I've always had a great relationship with them. My husband and I both have keys to their house, and they have keys to ours. Recently though, I've started taking serious issue with the habit my Phil has of letting himself into our home without warning. It started when he would come over frequently to help us put things up in our house. While I've always been incredibly grateful for his help, I don't like that he never lets us know when he's coming or even which day despite express requests for him to let us know. One weekend when my husband and I went away, my Phil went over to our house without permission or any prior discussion to work on our garden. It just feels rude, and makes for awkward situations. So far he's entered our house when my husband and I have still been in bed, when I've just got out of the shower in a towel, or when we've got other plans. There have been times I've walked into a room thinking the noise within is my husband, and it's my Phil. He never seemed to acknowledge any fault in what he was doing either. Naturally all this was very frustrating and upsetting to me, and I spoke to my husband. To start with, he thought I was overreacting, because I don't think any of it had actually bothered him yet. Of course when it started to, he suddenly understood my point of view, and said several times he'd get his dad alone and talk to him. That's apparently because his dad can be easily offended and my husband still wants his help around the house. My reply was basically that I'd welcome his help and don't want to offend him, but he's overstepping our boundaries and I'm getting tired of not feeling like I can relax in my house in case someone bursts in. The last straw came the other day. I was home alone and my husband texted to ask if his father could come over to grab his work boots from our garden. He wouldn't need to come in or anything. Before I even had a chance to respond to that, my Phil came into the house. He hadn't even bothered to wait until he'd been given permission, let alone respected my opinion on the matter. I politely but firmly told my Phil how I was feeling, and mentioned that if this continued, I'd feel uncomfortable with him having a key to our house and would like him to give it back. He instantly became very sullen and non-verbal, put his key on the side table and left. My husband thinks I've handled this wrongly by overreacting, particularly since his dad has told him he won't come round anymore, but frankly I was at the end of my tether with this situation and handled it as best I could at the time. Not the asshole, you did the right thing and confronted him directly. Problem solved. Not the asshole, he thinks you handled it poorly while he dragged his feet not handling it at all. He was provided many opportunity to address this and did his TA. Oddly, he wants to keep good relations so you both can benefit from your Phil free. He's motivated to get what he can for free instead of building a healthy relationship living so close to one another. It is creepy to be in your home and the door becomes unlocked without you knowing who or what is occurring. Yes, you reached the end of your patience and in the moment addressed it, unlike your husband. Not the asshole. If Phil cannot accept your boundaries, then he shouldn't have a key. I think the obvious asshole in this situation is your husband. He clearly didn't set boundaries with his father and left you in an awkward situation. If he thinks you overreacted, then he can only blame himself for creating that scenario. Not the asshole. An emergency key is not permission to invade your privacy. Not the asshole. You were calm and said it respectfully. It's his dad's problem if he's gonna be sullen and act like a child about it. Honestly, I personally wouldn't ask him to help around anymore. If he takes back his help like that just because you don't agree on him barging into your house whenever he wants, then you don't need his help. I hate it when people do that. Not the asshole. You can't ever fully relax. Your Phil doesn't respect your privacy or that it's your home and garden. Absolutely take that key from him. He can pop round when he arranges it with you. He's been asked. He's been told, not listened. Now he can't have a key. Simples. Not the asshole. Your Phil is wildly inappropriate. Not the asshole. Entering your property without permission is trespassing. even if your Phil has a key. You've tried the nice approach, but Phil is still breaking your boundary. Change the locks straight away and make it clear to your husband, Phil is not to have a key. Also, be sure to make it clear Phil is welcome anytime, if he is specifically invited. Not the asshole, especially in today's age, where you can text your request and have it answered in minutes. I get that the Phil is doing things when he can and has the momentum, but yeah, he needs to have permission to enter someone's home. I would consider upgrading the locks to electronic ones that can be monitored from your phone. You can even give Phil a code that allows him into the house. Some system allow you put hours on the code where he can only use for noon to 1 p.m. on Saturday, that way you have more control on when he has access. Not the asshole. You have a husband problem more than a Phil problem, though. Your husband would rather you be upset and uncomfortable in your own home than possibly upset his dad. He cares more about his dad's feelings than yours. Or, his dad makes life unpleasant when he doesn't get his way, and he'd rather not rock the boat than stand up to him. Either way, he's not taking your feelings, needs, and wants into account. Not the asshole. Change the locks, because I don't trust this guy to not just make a copy. So far he's entered our house when my husband and I have still been in bed, when I've just got out of the shower in a towel, or when we've got other plans. What's wrong with her husband? Not the asshole. My husband and I had this problem when we first married. Both in-laws would just let themselves in when they felt like it and found us half-dressed and kicking sex toys under the sofa. They didn't get the hint either once we returned from a shopping trip to find them sitting in our house eating the lunch they had prepared in our kitchen. How to not give offense? We had the locks changed and told them we had lost our keys and forgot to give them a copy. After that, we locked the doors and hid in the bedroom when we saw their car. They got fed up eventually. Not the asshole. You're a better woman than me that you put up with that crap from both your Phil and husband for so long. I'd have had that key off him the first time he did it. Your husband needs to grow a spine when dealing with his dad. Not the asshole your Phil is. He knows better. He feels entitled to walk in your home like it is just his son's. At least you were polite. If I had told my Phil or anyone else not to use my key without permission or them just being rude, I probably would have asked him, what the fuck are you doing in my house? He would have been more sullen. I have been married to my husband for 27 years. I still don't walk in their house without knocking. They know the code to our house because they watch our cats when we are away, but they have never just walked in without me answering the door to them. They understand keys are to be given with permission. Not the asshole. I'm in a very similar situation and I told my husband he either needs to talk to his dad or I'm gonna make it very obvious I don't want him there. I did. He hasn't shown up here in months. Not the asshole. Phil being a massive fucking baby isn't your problem. Let the toddler have his tantrum. Not the asshole. He repeatedly violated your reasonable boundaries. That has consequences. The first time that your Phil came into your home and you found him there uninvited should have been the last time. Not the asshole. Just change the door to a keypad lock. Claim you wanted to upgrade in case you forgot your key. Keypad locks can be pretty nice, to be honest. Not the asshole. The only option I didn't see was for you to do the same exact thing to his house. Show up unannounced at bath or bedtime like he has done to you. Scare the heebie-jeebies out of Mill a couple of times and he will clearly get the message. Maybe ask your husband if he wants his father to walk in while you're having sex. After all, he's already walked in when you just got out of the shower. Not the asshole, and you handled it very well. If your husband wanted to approach it a different way, he had his chance and didn't take it. Your husband needs to learn to listen to you. Not the asshole. If he wants to act like a sullen baby, then let him. The whole easily offended thing is a load of crap. It's how manipulative ours act so that they can make you feel guilty and get their way. Tell your husband to grow a set.